First of all, for my respectful obeisances, countless times, beloved Guru Padma, Nitya Lil Mr. Pachi Shimachla Bhakta Antanaga Samraj, Tarupani Gavarga, all assembled devotees. So we're day one into our talks on Srila Gurudev and his glories. And if you think Gurudev left our vision, our material vision in 2010, and it's hard to believe, and we're 13 years later, and how is I remember Tirtha Maharaj, he said, Pujapad Tirtha Maharaj, he said, oh, Gurudev is up in the spiritual world and he's looking down to see how his disciples are practicing, and we've been hearing from Maharaj as well about devotees having dreams. Generally it seems like when you're moving in the right direction, Gurudev will communicate through dreams, he'll communicate through people. Since I had the craziest dream last night. I'm not even going to talk about it, but I had a dream of Gurudev last night.
Oh, come on, you can't say much. Alright, we'll talk about it after class.
We'll talk about it after, because it's not every day I dream about Gurudev, I'll tell you that much. So it was really sweet. And so the memory of Gurudev has to go on, and it's the legacy, Maharaj saying legacy, the inheritors, I was going to say beneficiaries. Yeah, we're the beneficiaries of Gurudev's trust, of this Unnata Jvala Ras, that is being given by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who, as we were mentioning before, before Gurudev came, nobody knew any of these things. We didn't know anything. Speaking for myself, we read Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, Chaitanya Charitamrita, Nectar of Devotion, read all of those literatures, and didn't know anything. And like Ashram Maharaj said about the key, if you want the key to all these shastras, you have to study the works of Srila Gurudev, because he's opened that chest, which he has. And Gurudev would say, the key is with the sadhu to Bhagavatam. And he said, and he would go like that. The key is, everyone would laugh. He would go like that. The key is with us. So, basically for me, generally it's also said that the stars are only appreciated in the nighttime, and in the 60s they called it the Hare Krishna explosion, right? When Prabhupada came to the West, I don't know who came up with that term. Do you know? But there was this term, the Hare Krishna explosion. They were everywhere. They were preaching, airports, kirtan, everywhere. Thompson Park. People would just see devotees everywhere. So it was like an explosion of devotees. And you can see from all the footage and videos and, the starting of Rath Yatra and opening temples, and it really was a Hare Krishna explosion. And then when Gurudev came, it was like a second wave. Prabhuji mentions when there's a hot desert and then the rains come, he said the first rains aren't very helpful because it just gets hot. Like in the kitchen when you have a taba and it's really hot, you put one drop of water on there, it just it's almost dangerous because it's so hot, it just spits back off. And so we've heard from the Vaishnavas that that when Prabhupada first came, not everyone could take advantage because it was like burning of the West. The West was burning in like a forest fire. In Canada we have today, but the forest fire of material existence is always burning. But Prabhupada came and he cooled down, but it was still like the first rains in the summer in Vrindavan. When they come, it's okay, it's a little bit of relief, you get something, but then it gets humid. and really muggy and really hot, and you're just like, and so, the Vaishnavas have explained that second wave, that when Gurudev came, then a lot of the Prabhupada disciples that couldn't take full shelter at that time, due to it being the first wave, when Gurudev came, boom, they took it. And if it wasn't for the disciples of Swami Maharaj, who would we know how to take shelter? So we're always indebted to the disciples of Swami Maharaj for their book distribution, and then for showing us who Gurudev was. That our seniors, they led the way and risked everything in many ways. Gurudev would say, you will have to give up big institution for Krishna consciousness. Yeah. So this is what we see in many, like Indians also, they got the institution in the West, so they go to these established temples, and they got their families, they got their friends. But if you want Krishna Bhakti, you have to go where the sadhu is. And so Gurudev came, and he only wanted to take the foot dust of the places of Swami Maharaj. Now there's so much talk because different Gaudiya Vaishnavas are coming to the West and preaching. But we can't believe that, like, now this time has gone past, and there's in many ways there's less talk of Gurudev. Even at some of his festival sites, which are strong Gurudev centers, and they're becoming compromised, is probably, I don't know if that's too strong a word. So the Vaishnavas seeing this, they're wanting, it's like, okay, we need to establish Gurudev's glories. When Gurudev left this world, left our mortal vision, Premananda Prabhu in India, he glorified Gurudev non-stop for 2 years. Not every day, for 2 years he just glorified Gurudev. That's all he did. And the Guru Darshan book, which Maharaj was tirelessly working on, manifested from that. But that was 2 years every day. So, the antidote for Kali Yuga is the glories of the Vaishnavas. And Sadhu Sangha means that place where my Guru is being glorified. And even the Prabhupada disciples, they didn't feel any difference when they would feel Gurudev was enhancing their nishta in their own Guru, because he was helping them understand. He knew Prabhupada better than they did. And he said, I'm his first disciple. I'm the first disciple of Swami Maharaj. I helped him from the very beginning. And Prabhupada confirms that in his letters. He said, our relationship is based on spontaneous love. There's never any question of us forgetting each other, So, and Gurudev said, I have followed Swami Maharaj inside and out, So like many people, they could follow externally. We can do Dandavat Pranams, we can put tilak on, put the robes on, chant some rounds. But internally, what's going on? Internally, our minds everywhere. Our nartas are, we're harboring anartas and not practicing, not surrendered internally. So Gurudev was, I remember him saying, he said, I am his first disciple, and I have followed him inside as well as outside, externally as well as internally. And he helped all of the Prabhupada disciples understand Swami Maharaj, and especially that 8th slok in Upadeshamrita, where Raganuga Bhakti is explained. So without Gurudev, we just wouldn't know anything. We were explaining this before, but it's the same. It doesn't change this fact that before Gurudev, it was Sankirtan Yagya and save the conditioned souls from Maya and go back to Godhead. Very, basic understanding. And then Gurudev initiated us into this Anarpita Chirimtara Kananta Vitirna Kalo Sammapaitum Unnatoswala Rasam Swabhakti Shriyam. We never heard this slok before. After the first tour in Australia, came back to Navadvip, then Gurudev unleashed this sloka, initiated us into this, the internal reason why Mahaprabhu came to this world. He wanted to give what no other incarnation before had ever given, the precious treasure Swabhakti. Shriyam. Swabhakti, Shriyam means Unutajwala Ras. Shriyam, so the love that Radha has for Krishna, but the treasure of that, Manjari, the mood of the Manjaris. So Gurudev would always say, we can't serve, she's not giving her relationship to Krishna, is not being distributed, but the mood of the Manjaris. And so nobody knew this. And Gurudev was, he had so many titles, but even in that, the Hare Krishna explosion, when Gurudev came, we didn't know what the 60s explosion was like, but we experienced the tidal wave when Gurudev came. It was all that, like in England, for example, all the devotees, there were many that were fallen by the wayside, they'd been serving in temples and then they got burnt out, and they left, because your average, how long can you go off your own steam without sadhu sangha, without really high class sadhu sangha? You can only go for a few years actually, and then you run out of your own energy. Then you have to find a deeper place, and with that very nice Harikatha and the affection of Vaishnavas, high class Vaishnavas, you're not going to get there. So many devotees had left, and they were just smoking dope and God knows what they were doing, just on the fringe. They were called fringies, They were on the fringe of the movement that come for the Sunday feast. But they'd given so much. Then when Gurudev came, Prabhupada disciples as well, who were exhausted and tired and frustrated, and then Gurudev came and he said, I can see that the Bhaktilata Bij has grown, isn't it? He said, in this person, the seed hasn't grown at all. In this person, a shoot has come. And this devotee, one shoot has come and one leaf has come. Yeah. And then Gurudev would say, you need to hear Harikatha from, who do you hear from, he explained that you have to hear for Harikatha from that person who in their heart, Krishna's pastimes are manifesting like a fountain. You know how you go to the mall and there's these fountains that, a fountain the water just keeps coming. It doesn't stop. So that we read a book and we put the information in, and then, we might meditate on it or pray on it, and then maybe chant a bit, maybe understand something, and then we repeat what we've heard. But the pure devotees, Krishna's leelas are just manifesting continuously in his heart. So those Gurudev said, that's the person you want to hear from. So we were all, this is what was happening, and so many Prabhupada disciples, so many fringies, so many regular people, new people coming off the street, learning Bengali, like all of a sudden they're learning, next thing you know, they've been in the temple 6 months, they're learning Bengali and going to India, they're on parikrama, and then you got people that have been around 20 years and they couldn't see who Gurudev was. But this was our experience of the explosion, and it was a whirlwind, and it didn't stop. And it was just, so that was there, but like you say, and then stars are only appreciated in the nighttime, means when the sadhu leaves, so that's like nighttime, then his true glories become manifest. So since like 2010, by the grace of our near and dear Vaishnavas, they're showing us who Gurudev is, what his mission is, what he did for everybody, and it's really remarkable. And Gurudev's not gone, Gurudev's still present, and the sadhus, they know that, Gurudev, Premananda Prabhu would say, now Gurudev's in many forms, many murtis. There's not just one Gurudev. Gurudev's everywhere now, and his qualities are also manifest in his disciples. Also, they're there. Sometimes, I'm speaking for myself, we can sometimes become a little bit conditioned by nature. Just, I chant my rounds, I do my service, we might even lose connection with our hearts a little bit, and by the mercy of Gurudev, he can, that relationship, that's what the essence of our continuous dialogue, there should be continuous dialogue with Guru, Sri Guru, in the heart. And that's the special ingredient that we need to develop. Otherwise, we will just, everything will become external and gradually will calcify. You know, they say like the pineal gland is for spiritual practice, and they refer to someone who's not spiritually advanced, that their pineal gland becomes calcified.
What's that really?
Calcified, like plaque on your teeth or something. It's like a calcium deposit, you know? Yeah, it becomes hardened, you know? Like the heart's hard becomes hard. So if we don't foster that internal dialogue with Gurudev, some people say, oh, Gurudev ignored me, Gurudev this, you know. Like I also had the same experience with Gurudev when we first met him in the first Kartik. Just ignored me for 6 weeks. And but it forces you to look inside. And then when you discover Gurudev in your heart, then when you see Gurudev, at least I don't want to sing what my experience is, but it's kind of all I have because my realizations are meager. But for myself, I was at that time when Gurudev was ignoring me, I was reading Sri Guru and His Grace, and there Srila Sridhar Maharaj explains that Krishna's, Guru is actually in the heart. And then when I realized that, we were actually going to Kushum Sarovar. I couldn't put this book down, and I was reading it on the bus for the whole parikrama. And that one time we moved from Vrindavan to Govardhan, we go to Kushum Sarovar and we go to Paitan. So it's always a special day. First we go to Paitan, then the sun goes down, we go to Chandra Sarovar. What did I say?
Kushum.
I said Kushum, yeah, Chandra Sarovar, my bad. Even Prabhuji got on Gurudev's case. He said, why are you taking him to Chandra Sarovar? This is an opposition party, He said, anyway, it's Vrindavan. It's on the route. You see, you go to Paitan and then Chandra Sarovar's there. But that's Chandravali's Kund, So Prabhuji was, why are you taking them there? Chandravali's place. He said, anyway, no problem, Vrindavan. But I remember being there, and I just read this thing about Sri Guru being in the heart. And we all congregated around Gurudev. He was stood up. And then he was looking through the whole crowd, and he'd been ignoring me for the whole time. And then he just saw me, and his eyes just went, oh, like you understood something, So that whole, anyway, but I'm just trying to say the internal dialogue, there has to be some dynamic. You have to foster that in the serving in separation from Sri Guru. And all of the specialities of that he's accessible, even like we're post, 13 years post, you don't want to say post Gurudev, but after he finished his pastimes here. But he's still accessible, he's still in our hearts, and he's everywhere, he's omnipotent, he's omnipresent, he's omniscient. And as soon as we acknowledge that, then he's accessible to us at 24 hours a day. And depending on our sincerity, then he'll reciprocate with us. And but he spent tirelessly traveling all over the world to explain the secrets of this Manjari mood and how it's our legacy and how we're Rupanuga Vaishnavas and what is Ragatmik, what is Raganuga, what is Rupanuga, all the Ragatmik Jan, all of the sweet pastimes of Krishna. He did everything he possibly could, And one of the things he used to say was, he said, you should be like Raghunath Das Goswami. He was a little boy. He used to walk to see Chaitanya Mahaprabhu with Haridas Thakur. And he would give his little finger to Haridas Thakur, and Haridas Thakur would hold his pinky with his hand, and they would walk together to go and get darshan of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And he said, we should be like Raghunath Das. He said, Guru could carry you himself. So he was a young boy. Haridas Thakur could have probably carried Raghunath. But no, you walk alongside. And Gurudev said, you should be like that. He said, Gurudev can carry you on his own back. but he wants to see you try. He said, I can carry you easily, no problem, like a dad puts a little kid on his shoulders. He's happy to do that. It's effortless for the father. He has so much love. The father, it's just pleasure to have his little boy on his shoulders and carry his boy. But Gurudev said, Guru wants to see you walk. He wants to see you climb and make the effort. So this was his mercy to us. And he said, I'm not waiting. That's the only thing. He said, come with me. And we know, like Gurudev would, many times he'd see a young boy like your age or like that, and he'd stop and he'd go, do you want to taste that? And the devotees would, Gurudev, I'm not qualified, Gurudev. That's the classic one-liner. I'm not qualified, Gurudev. No one's qualified. There's not a question of qualification. No one, you're not qualified. And Gurudev said it first, now he would say, he said, I will take you there. I'll give you this, and let's go. And so he was very eager for any chance. Like Lalita Saki, she's always looking for a new recruit to serve Srimati Radhika. Everyone's eager to engage everyone in devotional service. It's a family atmosphere. It's no they say there's competition. The competition is transcendental competition, if there is competition. Yeah. Who can please Krishna more? Who can make Krishna happy? And then Krishna is trying to also make the gopis happy. So there's a transcendental competition, but there's no envy there. And in our family of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, there's no envy there. And in that perfected world, like in our world, we experience someone wants to be a temple president, someone wants to be manager, I'm the main guy. When Gurudev was present, people would try and get in the photo, Gurudev, and they try and get in the photo with Gurudev, and I'm with Gurudev. They have that history of being with Gurudev, or they're trying to even compete with Madhav Maharaj, try and take Madhav Maharaj's. There was one devotee, he was trying to muscle out Madhav Maharaj, Pujapad Madhav Maharaj from his service, and Madhav Maharaj was like, what are you doing? So that attitude is, sometimes we see things like that, but actually the like when our sannyas ceremony, that day you could that day that family atmosphere was experienced. I don't know how Maharaj. It felt like that everything opened up, almost like the spiritual world opened up, and there was a family behind there that was saying, welcome. That's what it felt like. And that's the Krishna conscious movement. It should be like that. Just no envy, just helping each other, and trying to take what Gurudev tried to give us. And that can't just be cerebral, mental, intellectual appreciation of slokas and verses. It is not glorification of our Guru Varg and our Parampara just to memorize everything. Many people have come, they've memorized everything, and then they've left. Gurudev said, I've seen thousands come and I've seen thousands go. Remember that? He was in Kartik. I've seen thousands come, and over the years, thousands have gone. So, we have that story of the turtle and the hare. Everyone knows the story. Turtle's going slow, but eventually wins the race. So I asked Prabhuji, should we be like the turtle or the hare? And he's like, both. What else would Prabhuji say? We'll be like the turtle, but we'll also be like the hare. He wants everything at all times, because they're spontaneous. Their love is spontaneous. Their relationship is eternal. So there's no lack of, like, we serve and then we no energy. It's too hot. We do a couple of hours save it and we have to stop. But our Guru Varg, they're serving continuously 24 hours a day, and Gurudev embodied that. And not only that, he had that treasure of bhakti ras, and he was able to distribute it. And according to our qualification, our qualification, we can take advantage. When Gurudev came to Australia in the first tour, Then it was Braj Balaba Prabhu. He was a Sridhar Maharaj's disciple. And he hosted Gurudev. And might have been the second one. But anyway, Gurudev said, the Pinnacle of Devotion book came from those classes.
That was the second one.
Yeah, it was the second tour. Yeah. And Gurudev said, I'm giving this class for 1 or 2 people in the audience. Remember that? Yeah. Cookie from Prabhupada, no less. Congratulations. Oh, you got a cookie. So, Gurudev said, I'm giving this class only for 1 or 2 people. And, there was like Shamarani, and I was thinking Shamarani and Vrindavan Vilasini.
Umadidi was there too.
Umadidi was there?
Yeah.
Okay. And, we kind of trying to keep up with the classes and that. But then like, I remember like many years, like 10 years later or something, and I thought, I'll have a quick read of Pinnacle Devotion. I was like, we know all this stuff. Over the years, we'd accumulated and absorbed all this Harikatha that in the beginning we didn't know anything about. So, I remember one devotee went to Gurudev and he said, Gurudev, I'm just not making any advancement, like I just feel like I'm, just still lusty devotee, And Gurudev said, he said, if I gave you a plate of meat, would you eat it? And he goes, no, Gurudev. He said, well, something's there. But the idea is, if we can, we think when we're young, it's like we're not going to make any progress. But actually, as the years roll on, you realize there's if you're lucky enough to be in good class association, where our Shiksha gurus and our Guru Varg, they're rooting out our anarthas in the, But you have to put yourself in that position to be in Sadhu Sangha. And when Gurudev came, it was Sadhu Sangha, Sarva Sastri Koi, Lava Mata Sadhu Sangha, Sarva Siddhi Hoy. This was only the slow, and we go to our friends in ISKCON, are you in Sadhu Sangha? Are you in Sadhu Sangha? Sadhu Sangha, Sarva Sastri. Everyone was saying this to their friends, But then after Gurudev left, then where's your Sadhu Sangha? Where is our practice? I remember devotees going, oh, now Gurudev's gone, who do we take shelter of? I was thinking, who do you take shelter? You didn't listen to anything Gurudev said over 10 years, It was just like, he was telling us the whole time who the Vaishnavas are that we can learn from and take shelter of. So that's why it's a surprise. It was a surprise then, in 2010, when people were saying, or 2011 was it, who do we take shelter of? We go to this person. Outside, outside people. But and now that mood's continued. The people that didn't really have faith in did they really have faith in Gurudev and that he's ever present and omniscient and he didn't have any qualified disciples? This zigzag line of truth just went straight out the window and missed our line. No, it's not the case. Gurudev's institution was such that he helped everybody. He was Jagat Guru. He didn't discriminate who he was giving shelter. Anyone that came, he would give shelter to. And gurus knew that, and they would send their disciples to Gurudev. Gurudev, Swami Maharaj said, he said, Srila Sridhar Maharaj and Srila Narayan Maharaj, 2 people, they can help you in Krishna consciousness. So the disciples of Prabhupada, they were following their guru. Guru gave the order to go anywhere? Did Gurudev say, go here, go there? He didn't say anything that. He said, if you want this my mood, you have to take it from my disciples. So the Swami Maharaj's disciples that came to Gurudev, they were following their guru's order. Take shelter of Srila Narayan Maharaj, take shelter of Srila Sridhar Maharaj. That was direct instruction of Guru. Guru doesn't say, if he doesn't say do it, you're not independent. Disciple means you follow. So Gurudev said, he said, I have many sannyasi disciples. He said, none are like Premananda Prabhu. If you want to learn how to be Vaishnav, you learn from him. But now everyone's, okay, you can hear from, there's no bar on going here and, like in the essence, in a dry time, like Gurudev said, if there's no sadhu sangha, then read the books and think I'm with Rupa Goswami, so there's some, but if you really want to, if Gurudev said, if you want my mood, you have to get it from my disciples. And, wherever that surrendered souls are that have served Gurudev and are the true inherited all of, because you could give the temples to this person and the management over there, and but his real treasure, that's the real wealth. Where is that gone? Who is the beneficiary of that? Who's the storekeeper of that bhakti ras? Who had that deep, sweet relation? So we're very lucky to be under the guidance of Gurudev's nearest and dearest Vaishnavas, and without them we'd be lost, completely lost. But we were very lucky. We met Gurudev Prabhuji in 96, and so we always felt, after Trikar Maharaj left and Puja Srila Vamra Maharaj left, we always knew we still have this shelter, and that shelter is still present. And because of that, those now, in Radhe Kunj, there's so many devotees and sannyasis and brahmacharis. It's like a sea of saffron. And the ladies too, very sincere lady devotees, are all serving, and they're all, by the mercy of the Vaishnavas, getting closer and closer to Gurudev every day. So I'll finish there. Lucky Pujapad Chaitanya Maharaj, Sannyasi Maharaj. He had to change his name, no? Because it can't be Chaitanya Maharaj. That would be. So Gurudev gave him a very nice name, Sannyasi Maharaj. So he's come from Brazil, Prabhuji also honoring. So we're here from Jai. Branch Kalpa Jivas Chaka, Vaishnava Jabadin, Pavani Vaishnava.